Good morning, Mets fans, and happy hump day. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and the Mets lost last night. And it's continuing a trend that Mets blog pointed out this morning that I want to talk about on today's video. And I'm also going to touch on another concern and really not much positive. So, hooray, this will be fun. The Mets lost 3-2 last night. It was a weird game. Noah Syndegaard was on the mound, and as I've been mentioning over the last week, like every single day, every time Noah starts, every time DeGrom starts, the Mets have to win those games, and they just haven't been, at least not consistently. So I tweeted something last night during the game, and I said, basically, I as much as I want the Nationals to suck again and go to the bottom of the division, I'm not mentally prepared for the Braves to be good yet. I want them to be bad for a little bit longer. But, you know, the Braves, it is still early, but, man, they look really good. They took some really good at-bats last night in the game. Despite only scoring 3 runs, and those 3 runs coming in the first inning, there wasn't a whole lot of other offense in terms of runs for the Braves. But man, they hit the ball last night. I mean, they came through, and I think they have like 12 or 13 hits on the game. That's a lot of hits. Noah gave up the most hits he's ever given up in a game. Syndergaard did. So just, you know, a weird game. Ended up being 3-2. I guess if I do have to find a positive, it's that Cespedes was in the lineup. Despite his jammed thumb from Sunday. I think we all expected him to miss a couple of days, at least today, or, you know, yesterday, I should say. But he was in there, and he didn't miss a beat at the plate. His batting average is now over 250. He had 3 hits last night, 2 hard hit singles, and a no doubt home run. So, you know, that's that. Here's the 2 points that I want to make. 2 really not so great points. Since the Mets' 11-1 start, since April the 13th, they have not won back-to-back games. It's been 15 games, and the record in those 15 games since that 11-1 start is 6-9. April 13th. All right, what happened 2 days before April 13th? Aha! The news of Travis d'Arnaud's Tommy John surgery and Kevin Plawecki's subsequent broken hand. Ever since the Mets lost their catchers, they have not been the same team. And for everyone that has discounted the abilities of both d'Arnaud and Plawecki, and I count myself as one of those discounters, particularly as it pertains to Plawecki, but I will tell you what, they were a different team with Plawecki and or d'Arnaud batting in the 7th spot in the lineup. The automatic outs that the 7, 8, and 9 batters seem to be now without them in the lineup just wasn't the case then. And it sort of leads to a question that one of our loyal watchers, one of my loyal watchers, posted on YouTube. And the question was, what do the Mets do with this catching situation? And the suggestion that my buddy Mad Wax had in his comment was Real Muto for Dom Smith. And unfortunately, it's going to take an awful lot more than just Dom Smith to nab Real Muto from the Marlins. Jeter's going to ask for the moon, especially because he knows that the Mets desperately need help at catcher. And rightfully so. I mean, he should be asking for the moon and back. The bad news is that means the Mets are going to have to look to part with either Rosario and or Nimmo, maybe both of them. Maybe the Marlins are looking at Peter Alonso. Maybe the Marlins start looking at some of the high ceiling arms that the Mets traded for last year. The bottom line is the Marlins are going to want to haul for Real Muto, and honestly, I think we've gone far enough into this chasm of nothingness that is Lobaton and Nido behind the plate that Plawecki should be back in the next week or so, God willing. I never thought I would want Plawecki back, but man, we need him back, and we need him back soon. So my answer to the question is there's nothing the Mets can do right now. They have to finish riding this thing out. They have to get Plawecki back, and they have to reassess. As far as who the backup ends up becoming once Plawecki is back, I think it's got to be Lobatone, because Nito's got to be down getting regular at-bats in the minor league so that he can get himself ready to eventually be up here full-time. So that's my answer to the catching situation. And Mad Wax, thank you for posting, as always. I appreciate that. Back to fun fact, or not so fun fact, number 2. This one was something that Gary Cohen mentioned on the broadcast last night, and it was about Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard has never beaten the Braves. I found that shocking, especially when you think about how bad the Braves have been over the last couple of years. Noah has faced them 6 times. His record is 0-2. He's got an ERA over 4 against the Braves. And of all of the teams that Noah Syndergaard has faced more than once, the Braves are the only one that he has not defeated. I just found that to be amazing. And it's proof as to why we as Mets fans will eternally and forever loathe the Atlanta Braves. Because even when they're bad, they find ways to screw us. So, again, I'm just not ready for them to be good. I don't know if they are. And that's the point that I want to make about, you know, the first month of the season. It's still early, all right? There's still a lot of time for Major League scouts and Major League analysis to be done on these rookies that the Braves have called up and who've been just tearing the cover off the ball. Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna. These guys are they're playing like veterans right now. They just look really good and really comfortable, despite Acuna nearly letting Reyes's game-ending flyout misplay him last night. There's enough time, I think, for a book to get out on these guys to learn how to pitch to them and exploit some weaknesses, because there's got to be some. Everybody's got them. The question then becomes the same question I posed about Rhys Hoskins last year. How will they adjust once the pitching in the league has adjusted to them? And that's baseball right there. It's a game of adjustments. So it'll be interesting to watch. Whether the Braves are for real, honestly, it's gonna depend on how well these kids continue to do. Freddie Freeman is Freddie Freeman. I hate his guts. I want to kick him as hard as I can in between the legs and repeatedly, sort of like Gardaki and Step Brothers. But he's fantastic, and he can't carry the team, is my point, by himself. So they are going to need Nick Markakis to stay hot. Kurt Suzuki, who somehow found himself in the last 2 years as an offensive threat, to stay hot. They're going to need Acuna and Albies to stay hot. There's a lot of ifs, and every team has them, but there are reasonable assumptions to be made that these guys will not continue this pace all year. Much the same way that I keep saying I think the Mets are going to be fine, because Jay Bruce and Michael Conforto and Yoenis Cespedes, who's starting to snap out of it, they're not going to maintain this poor performance all year. They are going to round back to form. So it's 1 month. Yes, the Mets are 6-9 over the last 15 games, but Jacob deGrom takes the mound tonight, and Jacob deGrom has to do what Jacob deGrom does, and that's be this team's ace and be this team's stopper. It's what he's been for 2 years straight now, and it's going to continue in 2018. Jake is off to a fantastic start. He should have 5 wins. He has 3. ERA is just north of 2.00, and I hope that he's able to continue that tonight. If the Braves come out and hit deGrom tonight, I'm going to be really mad. I mean, like, super mad. So I just need to see the Braves shut down, because their offense is firing on all cylinders, and if there's a pitcher that can do it, notice I said the word pitcher, it's Jacob deGrom. He will find and exploit weaknesses for all of these players. That's what he does better than just about anybody in the league. So let's see how Jake makes out tonight. The 17-10 Mets still in first place. It's too early to check the standings, but I know they're still in first, maybe by a half game over the Braves. See what happens tonight. Of course, we'll be watching, so will you. And unfortunately, I will not be back tomorrow. I will probably not be back Friday. At the absolute earliest, I may be back on Saturday with a video. I'm going to be out of town the next couple of days, and I won't have ready access to be driving. So I won't be driving with Mr. Met. So until the next time we talk, it might be during the Rockies series, it might be after the Rockies series. I don't know, we'll see. I appreciate you watching this video, and as always, let's go Mets.